Hi everyone, Priya again on Feathers and Ferns, and today I'm going to make a tutorial on making vintage sewing theme tags using some vintage sewing patterns. So I have some nice sewing patterns and I'm going to use these for making my tags. So first thing, I'm going to create a background for my tag. Again, my tag is a cereal box cardboard. So I'm going to use one of the papers from the um, sewing pattern and I'm adhering it to my tag using some PVA glue, and that will help me get a background for the tag, and then I will start working on this background. These papers are so old and naturally distressed. I don't really need to make them look old. They are so old that they are extremely fragile and they are cutting off so easily. In fact, I have to be careful not to make any mistakes here. So yes, that is my basic tag background. It is ready now, and I want to create a focal point now on this tag. So I'm thinking of using some image from the cover of the sewing pattern. So I have this cover of the sewing pattern and I want to use one of the images here. So the first thing I'm going to do here, I'm going to cut this image here. I'm going to just fussy cut this image. This image is a bit torn as you can see, but that's all right. In fact, it's going to look nice and it is going to give me a nice old textured look to the tag. It will look like tattered kind of image. I don't really mind it. I just have to be careful to not to cut that thing off completely. So I'm just fussy cutting this image to use it as the focal point. So this image is ready. I have this image. I want to have this image on the tag, but before I paste it, I want to do some layering underneath it. And again, I'm using some paper scraps from the sewing pattern. I'm just roughly trimming them so as to give an old textured look. Is going on the tag with the help of PVA glue. So now this basic focal point of the tag is ready. I want to give some dimensions and texture to this tag, and for that I'm going to use a few pieces of fabric, and I purposely cut them in a way so that they look old and frayed. And these fabrics also have an old vintage look with them, and that look is going to suit well with the overall theme of this tag. Now these fabric scraps are ready and I want to attach them to each other using this tiny gold colored safety pin. And once these fabrics are attached to each other, I will fix them on the tag using PVA glue. And I really feel that PVA glue works well for fabric as well as paper. And my fabric, I never had a problem using it. My fabric never comes off the paper. Use this chipboard accent. It is in the shape of a mending spool and I have it from some time. It's a tiny one, so I think it will look okay on the tag. So I'm going to distress it using the Tim Holtz vintage photo ink pad, and I'm heavily distressing it so as that it looks well coordinated with the tag. Have this strip of muslin on it, and I'm using a safety pin, again the same tiny gold colored safety pin, to fix this fabric onto this mending spool. I have few of these vintage looking buttons and I'm going to stitch them on a long strip of muslin fabric. I have this strip from my, it's really is a scrap fabric, so I did that step off camera and I have this little strip of buttons ready. Now it's time to stick the spool that I had just made and this button strip on the tag, and I'm again going to use PVA glue for that. Finish off this tag, in the end I decided to use one of the stickers, so I have this stickers, these sewing theme stickers, and I plan to use this scissors sticker. I think because it is in gold color, so it will look good with the overall theme of the tag. So I'm adhering it on the top of the tag, and I think this tag looks quite well. Also, it looks very old retro kind of, it has that old retro kind of feel. It looks quite vintagey without doing much because these papers were so old, and the fabrics and buttons I chose, they look, they have that old kind of feel. Now to finish it off, on the back side of the tag, I'm going to stick this tea-dyed paper as I always do, because I always want to have some writing space on back of the tag. So I'm just doing it, and I will tear off this paper using my scissors. Finished now. So just to finish it off, final touch, I punched a hole on the top, and then I'm using these two strips of fabrics. This is a very frayed kind of fabric. Both of them are quite frayed and old kind of fabric, so they will look good here. And I'm just tying these fabrics on the top, and this tag is done now, and I'm happy with how this tag has turned up. I also did two more similar kind of tags off camera, and I hope you guys like it. This one of this, and this one. I hope you guys like the tutorial, and please let me know, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Let me know through your comments, and I will see you soon. Bye bye.